Hello friends, family and other creatures of the sea, and welcome back to a high level best of 5 of StarCraft 2. Today we have the first GSL semi-final, as it is in the top right spawning as our blue Terran player Gumi Ho, playing for C9, and in the bottom left as our red PROTOSS playing for the Twisted Minds. It is Classic, as Gumi Ho 1 day before, I think 1 or 2 days before the semi-finals of the GSL were played, got picked up by Cloud9. This is, I think, the first time Cloud9 ever has had a StarCraft 2 player, and I think that is pretty freaking cool. Cloud9 is, for the people who are not aware, Cloud9 I think is a major North American team. I'm not sure how good they are nowadays, but I remember back in my day when I still followed some other esports, they were always at the top of NA. Now, being at the top of NA generally in esports isn't that impressive, because North America most of the time in esports doesn't perform so well, but still they're definitely a very, very large team, and it's cool to see a new large team enter the StarCraft 2 space. I'm just extremely happy with it. Anyways, we have a semi-finals here on our hands, as Classic started a Zealot, cancels a Zealot, starts a Nexus instead, Cybercore into Nexus, as we have a double gas opener coming out of Gumi Ho. Into what does he go though? Into a factory. Oh, that's pretty standard. Could have predicted that myself, honestly. Whenever you see a double gas, usually it's a Reaper into a factory. The question, however, will be, will it be a reactor after this? Is there going to be a low ground CC? Is it going to be a high ground CC? Is there going to be a second factory or a starport? Like, what are the follow-ups going to look like here for Gumi Ho? I don't know. And neither does Classic, because you can't get that information. It's going to be a reactor. Usually, when you see a reactor, you'd say, hey, buddy, if you get a reactor, that CC needs to be built on the high ground. And the reason for that is because there's no second unit out that can defend your low ground. So if there's a Zealot that sneaked by, or even just a probe, can be very annoying to deal with if it starts harassing this command center. Doesn't seem to be the case, and thus, Gumi Ho kind of gets away with murder. It's really kind of like a minor murder. It's not a real murder. Maybe what is less bad than... I guess a lot of things are less bad than murder. This is more like stealing a cookie from your local gas station, I guess. Oh, what is less bad than murder? There's a lot of things there. Yeah, Gumi Ho just stole a cookie from his local gas station. Maybe a Mars bar. Like a Mars bar. The other day during Halloween, I was very surprised by this. I got this, we have these boxes in the Netherlands, they're called celebrations, and inside of a celebrations box are a bunch of like you have like the Snickers, you have a Bounty, the Mars, and maybe there's like a tiny Kit Kat in there, I'm not sure. You have all these like small versions of these kind of these A-class candies, you know? And I for sure thought that when we handed these to the kids, all of them would pick the Mars, because the Mars bar is by far the most delicious out of all of them. But they didn't. I can't recall what they actually ended up picking. I remember someone picking a Snickers, and there were like 3 Mars bars right next to it. And I felt I was like, man, what's wrong with you? I almost said it as well. The kid was dressed up like Dracula, eating a Snickers instead of a Mars bar. It's like, you've been hit in the head. What's wrong with you? Back in my day, Mars bar was by far the most popular one. It's the same when you have these twin ice creams, you know? Yeah, you have these, it's like a popsicle, but it's 2 of them. Like, there's 2 sticks, basically. And there's like 4 different colors. You got your yellow, green, orange, and then you got like purple/red. They call it red, but it's a bit towards purple, I think. And whenever you have like a box of these, there's 12 of them in it, 3 of each color. Or maybe 16, 4 of each color. The reds are always gone first. If there's a kid, like if you have a kid, and your kid picks the green one, despite there still being a red one available, I think you should trade him in. Like, there's something wrong with this one. You know, try to get a refund or something, because that's not okay. Kids that took the green one growing up with these double popsicles, that is a real clue that they're becoming a serial killer. They always say that animal abuse is the #1 thing. I think picking a green popsicle is a bigger indicator, personally. But then again, I haven't studied psychology or criminology. This is just a gut feeling. Anecdotal, really. I knew one kid that always took the green popsicle. He was seriously off in the head. Alright, what in the world are you doing, Gumi Ho? Here I am talking about popsicles and candies, and Gumi Ho is playing... This is actually kind of similar. Yeah, that's right. I'm just trying to figure out what this is. This is a Raven mech. This is very close to what Spirit played at the start of the new patch. He'd either play Ghost Mech or he'd play Raven Mech. If he believed he was playing against someone that liked to focus on the robotics facility, he'd often build a couple of Ravens. Now, the Ravens are really cool because if you open up with Colossus or Immortals, you can interference matrix these units, and all of a sudden, the Robo army doesn't look so scary anymore. So I actually wonder how Classic is going to defend this. This is why the most popular way of dealing with this particular composition is not to build Robo unit, at least not at the high level, at lower level it is, but at the high level it is to build a lot of Blink Stalkers initially, to kind of sniff out what the opponent is actually doing. Then if you're seeing Ghosts, or if you're seeing Ravens, you can kind of respond appropriately. Alright. Here we see Classic. He scouted the Ravens and he's building a second Colossus. This feels like a mistake. It could be a mistake, I'm not sure. Is this a 2-base all-in, by the way? It's been a very long time since I've seen a 2-base all-in with Mech in this matchup. There used to be this guy called Goody, a German Terran. He was very good at ping pong, and extremely slow as well. He's like 120 APM. He'd always all-in you with Mech, or he'd just play actual Mech macro games. So just he always played Mech. I remember he had some nasty Mech all-ins. Hated playing against that guy. Freaking long games, 45 minutes. Playing against this benchy tank Hellion. God. Whenever you played against Goody on the ladder, afterwards you instantly got contacted by a psychologist as well, making sure that you're still mentally okay. It's an actual fact. It's a service that Blizzard provided after they realized what Goody was doing with people's mental health. People always think that, the first boom of StarCraft 2 got killed by Infestor Broodlord, but it just got killed because a lot of pro gamers wanted to quit playing after having to play Goody 12 hours a day. Goody could also play 3 games at the same time, that's why I only had 120 APM. These are all facts, by the way. There's no lies here at all. This is... I feel like Classic is freaking dead, though. He's stacking into a Templar Archives. He's getting his +1 and his charge. Now Scout's like, man, that's a lot of units, isn't it? Holy crap, that's a lot of units, dude. This is a huge army. Is there an armory here? Surely, getting 17 Hellions, you'd want to get an armory to turn them into Hellbats, no? Am I the crazy one here? Don't think I am. Okay, here come the interference matrix. 1 hit. Second one's gonna hit as well. Actually, 3 hit. Immortals Colossus not dealing any damage. The Hellion Lip is moving forward right now. Tanks rolling in as well. Super Battery gets activated, but there's so much freaking supply. What a ridiculous build order here. Coming out of Gumio, who just rolls over his opponent. And Classic, honestly, I can't blame the guy. He's never seen this before in his life. It's like you're playing a game of football and the other guy like shoots you. He's like, what? Is that allowed? No one's done that to me before. It's like, well, nowhere in the regulations that say you can't take a gun on the pitch. It's like, next game everyone's shooting each other. It's like, what is this? He's ridiculous. You never see these builds. I love that this is the first time that these tanks are sieging as well. They're just unsieged, they're just rolling forward. It's unbelievable. Liberators here with the auto attack on the Colossus. It's not the best way to use them, but it's gonna get the job done over here. The Disruptor gets taken out. 53 SCVs on 2 bases against now 47 workers for Classic. Classic does have 3 bases, but only 2 of them are mining. Classic is stunned. He has no clue what hit him here. He's gonna be watching this replay for the next 5 days, trying to figure out what in the world just happened. CC's gonna get cancelled by that pilot, but I don't think that really matters. Personally, I don't think this is gonna have any impact on the ending of this game. 128 supply to 77 still. Yes, I mean, 1-1 is finishing up here for Classic. That's real nice there, buddy. I'm real proud of you for finishing those upgrades, but she's not gonna cut it. Double auto turrets get thrown down here as well. Get a recall onto this 3rd base. I bet that's a Colossus. Okay, Colossus and 2 Stalkers. 2 tanks are gonna siege up though. These Liberators now showing up as well. As another tank is rolling in. Lips put in position, and I mean, at this point, Classic, there's really nothing left for you over here. There's 3 more tanks, 4 more tanks, and a couple of Hellions make their way across the map. All of this production just out of 4 freaking factories and a single starport. Beautiful all-in out of Gumio as he takes out Classic in game number 1 here on Solaris. Game number 2 is going to be played here on hard lead as Classic decides to scout once more. And for a second time in a row, we have Gumio opening up with a double gas opener. Let's see if there's any more tricks up his sleeve, or if that's the only... I don't think that's going to be the only trick. Gumio is a man of many tricks. He has very large sleeves as well. Not many people know this about him. But whenever you're at tournaments, you immediately recognize Gumiho. Even if you wouldn't be capable of seeing his face. You just say, wow, this guy's huge sleeves. It's ridiculous. How does he walk in a shirt like this? With them sleeves? Pff, basically a poncho. Mad. Alright, this SCV is actually in a bit of trouble. Might end up dying. Classic decided to give up that chase. Yeah. Didn't care about it no more. Reactor first once more. Get a recall. Theoretically the optimal play, but it feels like the incorrect play. I don't know why that is. Whenever I do it, I feel like a massive loser. I know that economically it makes sense, because otherwise you're just going to be croning your probes here at home anyway. But it just feels so wrong. I don't know why that is. I just don't understand it. How can something that is so correct feel so wrong? The opposite of what's usually there, you know? But how can something that is this wrong feel so right? It's like when you're watching a sitcom and the main character is cheating on his significant other that also lives in the same house because they're roommates. In sitcoms, they always have a lot of people living in a house, like 8 guys, 5 girls, a regular sitcom house in New York. None of them have a job. Maybe they do have a job. I'm thinking of Friends right now. I didn't actually watch a lot of Friends. I also don't know how many people there are in Friends. Maybe it's just 6. In my mind, it was 8. There might also be multiple apartments, though. God, I know so little about TV. Invested all my time in playing StarCraft when I was a young boy. Ooh, gonna get a swap again. It smells like cyclones indeed, yeah. There we go. 3rd gas. Jeez Louise. Could be a battlecruiser follow-up, perhaps. This heavy into the gas. There's not a whole lot that requires this much, honestly. Getting a quick tech lab though, so perhaps once again a Raven. I didn't quite catch the early game last game because I was talking about Candy. These 3 Reapers are just kind of running around. Hallucination has scouted what's kicking off. I'm gonna get a more appropriate response here out of Classic, to be honest. You know what's funny here? If you scout this as a PROTOSS, I think mentally there's always going to be some alarm bells ringing. It's like, oh, this thing is green and there's a starport. That can only be Cloak. And you kind of forget that the Raven, in order to use the interference matrix, needs to research it. So quite a few times I've scouted a Terran and I've gone like, oh no, I need a cannon in every mineral line. And then the guy just has 2 Ravens. I'm like, ah, right. It's like I've even seen the Raven, but just because you see the green thing, it's like, oh, I bet it's a Cloak Banshee. Because for the past like 12 years, the only thing that could come out of a tech lab that is researching on a starport was always going to be a Banshee with Cloak. So I'm so hardwired now to the moment that I see it, I'm like, yeah, that's a Banshee with Cloak, 100%. Like putting batteries, cannons, like 5 observers out there. He walks forward with his interference matrix Raven. I have 1 Colossus and 2 Sentries. Well, it's the end of this game. Minus 35 to a Terran I've never heard of. Amazing. That's a quick forge, by the way. A very uncommon style here that Classic is playing. This feels like an old school 3-gate or 2-gate Blink Nexus opener. There's no pressure with this whatsoever. And the reason why these builds fell out of fashion was because they sucked. You always want pressure with it because you're already investing in the gates. You're already investing in Stalkers most of the time anyway. You might as well try to do something aggressive with it. Prism is always good because you can always use it later on as well for charge lots. So not seeing anything being done with these Stalkers for such a long time, it's actually kind of painful to watch. This Raven used 1 auto turret, got 2 worker kills. We now have this hallucination in here. There's freaking 6 Cyclones though. That is an ambitious blink there, mate. Gonna snipe 1 Reaper. I'm gonna lose at least a Stalker, no? 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 Okay, wow. Good trade there then for Classic. That felt very close, but he gets away with it. Has a 3rd base. Now it's getting charged in armor. Wonder if you want armor over the attack upgrade. He's seen that it's triple factory. I'm just not entirely sure. Like, I've played quite a bit against these compositions of 3 bases. But I haven't played much against this on 2 bases, and it interests me. It really does interest me. So in my mind, you still want high Stalker counts, and then I would think an Immortal, a Templar, yeah. I mean, I don't dislike these calls at all. I think they're quite good. The only problem, of course, is going to be that there will be interference matrices, so you need the feedback properly. Here comes the Raven, has 2 auto turrets available. See if Plastics is going to be ready for that. That's 2 Stalkers. Could do something against it. SCV's being pulled off the line, yes sir. Another all-in here coming out of Gumio, hitting much faster, by the way. Much quicker, much harder. Classic once again seems extremely ill-prepared here. Stalkers on the complete wrong side of the map. We're gonna get a recall. There's only 2 tanks though in this army, so batteries will be very powerful. I think a useful thing here to have is to have something in between the main army and the reinforcements. I really do believe that would be kind of nice. We're on 8 gateways. We're on 5 gases. I was gonna say 6, but it's just 5. 2 Immortals, and there's 2 Templar here as well. 4 feedbacks. This Raven throws on a couple of auto turrets, gets a bunch of kills. Archon being morphed. There are 2 interference matrices available here. That's going to be 1 on the first Immortal. Then on anti-armor, maybe anti-armor here would be huge. I feel like anti-armor would have been better than that second interference matrix with that many Hellions and Cyclones, surely. So now Classic's just microing back those Immortals, doing a magnificent job at it, by the way. SCV's coming in very late. I'm not quite sure where these guys went, but went to the wrong side of the road. 82 supply to 88. The fight is still close. Some supply there is in those Ravens. Little Raiders show up, but I do believe that Classic is going to hold this time around with a Zealot Immortal Archon Stalker composition. Despite being caught off guard, does manage to hold here and ties up the series 1-1. After that last game, Gumio immediately decides that 2 gas is for losers. he's quick to switch his mind. He's like, oh, this is 2 gas? Nah, that's old school, man. We don't play that stuff over here. That sounds ridiculous. 2 gas? Nah, that's not for me. What's wrong with you talking about 2 gas? God, you're stupid, Harstem. We're all about that 1 gas stuff now. He opens up with a standard 1 gas. Gonna go into a Reaper. Okay, that's the last thing I'd expected out of the Gumi God here. eBay block coming in. That's another thing that I hadn't really expected, but it is all happening over here. Second gas coming down. Zealot being chrono boosted. Pylon being built as well. This is an absolutely wild response. So wow. The eBay block has been kind of figured out, and this is not the response that we have figured out as kind of the PROTOSS conglomerate. We get together every now and again, the secret PROTOSS alliance, as we call ourselves. We talk about builds, and in my mind, the optimal way to deal with it was to pull 4 probes. I've never heard anyone say, you know, a Zealot chrono and 3 probes. That's a new way to go, Kevin. But maybe they started a new group, you know? This has happened to me in the past, where you're in a group chat with your friends, and after a while that group chat dies, and that's because there's a new group chat that is without you and with someone else. Like they basically replaced you with a better version of you, or in my mind a worse version. Otherwise I would just be more like that person. Oh, that sounds a little bit sad as well. Trying to please people so much that you completely change your personality. Maybe these people did me a favor as well. It's hard to say what my life would have been otherwise. Alright, the Zealot achieved a whole lot. It got 7 damage on this Reaper. But the Reaper regenerates. Once again, Zealot gets built, achieves absolutely nothing except a notch in the belt of this Reaper. Yeah, the life. That's literally the life of a Zealot, is getting boned by a Reaper while walking across the map. God, that must suck. Stargate here in the natural. I'm not quite sure why it's in the natural. It seems like there's a perfectly fine location over here, but maybe he wants this Oracle to be a little bit quicker. And he hopes that Gumiho doesn't go into the natural to scout. So he'll jump into the main. Let me find the location where this target is. He goes. It's just actually what's gonna happen. This would make my day. Gets in there. This is like if you're the director, like a bank director, you know, or the guy the bank manager, whatever you call it, and you're in charge of you know, keeping the money safe, and rather than putting it in the safe, you just put it in your mattress or something like that. That is pretty much what Classic is doing here, just praying that no one looks in his mattress. You know, cleaner comes over, it's like, not the mattress, madam, not the mattress, all right. I cleaned that myself. Don't worry about it. All right. Gumio hasn't scouted it yet, though. He's not going to see the Oracle show up in the main. Nothing really to deal with that, as we have a fleet beacon here. All right. Single gate, second Stargate, Oracle into Phoenix cancel this was. Classic, has he scouted? Yeah, he's seen that he's playing against 3-Rex. This is an awful situation here if you're Classic, I think. I could be wrong, but usually this is not quite what you want to play against. Now all of a sudden this target on the low ground makes a lot of sense, by the way. I do appreciate that. I really do like it. I haven't seen any Tempest builds quite yet against Terran. I haven't seen them activated yet. Okay, Tempest starts in the natural. You know, it would be sad if Gumiho decides to scan for whatever reason. Not sure why he would, but I mean, it's technically possible that he would do that, you know? This just seems like an idiotic build, by the way. Like, what if your opponent just build a single medevac and he scouts it and then just starts building Vikings? Don't you just lose the game? Like, Tempest are really bad against Vikings. Like, insanely bad, even. It's just gonna rally them across the map. That's insane. This is actually insane to watch. So the question here is, what does this beat and what does it lose against? I love this stasis word, by the way. That's so smart. That is so smart. It's like a safe space. That is really... I would love to have like a Stalker in front of it, though, or like an Adept, or just the entire army, really, except the Sentry. You really don't want this guy to walk in. No, not in the stasis. Please, please. Gumio has seen it. Gumio has spotted it. Oh, no. Sends in the bad boy. All right. I guess we have some space over here. Gumio's like, well, this is a nice expedition you have setting up over here. Yeah, it sure does sound awful. I'm gonna lose 5 workers, but what do you have at home, my friend? Let's talk about that, shall we? Could you care to explain to me what it is that you have at home to defend against my incoming 35,000 Marines? Oh, it's a stasis ward, that's something. Here come the Tempest. Could shoot from a distance. Gonna need a revelation for that, though. This is all out of range. This is not being explored. Tempest are actually getting quite a few kills. If Classic stays alive, does he just win the game here? I mean, these Tempest are having a blast. They're now in a turret. It's not as much as a blast as it was before. Look at this. Tempest just taking out these Marines, stimming away. Here comes an attack towards the main base. There's 3 cannons on the third. Nah. This is a really cool build, but I'm not so sure about it right now. Here comes the second army attacking this area. Super battery needs to be activated. Super battery, gets activated. Too late. Too late. Another drop in the natural, but Gumio actually getting taken out. I think now's the time to transition into carriers. Could be wrong, but I don't think I am. 20 SCVs have gone down. 13 probes have gone down. This third base is in trouble. There is a third base for Gumiho. This is just such an awkward game. Like, this is legitimately such an awkward game. Legit, if there was like a cannon and a battery in the main, I think that Classic could have held this. And even now, I'm not sure in how bad of a spot he really is. Like, there's nothing that can deal with these Tempest. There are 2 Vikings and 19 Marines. Like, how are you gonna fight this? You can't stim multiple times. Oh, medevac. Oh my god, there are units in there as well. Classic's still in this. He's ahead, maybe? I don't know if he's ahead. I think all that Gumiho can do really here is counterattack, no? That's what he should be doing. But then you can recall. Is there a recall available? Oh, he's no energy. There's energy here. I mean, the moment you don't see anything, when do you recall though? When he's hitting you already? Or do you wait a little bit? Okay, yeah, you kill some stuff here. I think you should leave 1 Tempest behind just to clear a couple of SCVs. That sounds like a good plan, at least to me. Oh. It's a lot of stuff. We have 8 Tempest here defensively. Is that going to be enough? Super battery gets activated. Yeah, once these Marines get underneath though, they're gnarly little buggers. They have a lot of damage output. It's gonna get taken out. 8, 9, 10 workers falling. Marauders get sent in towards the main base. God knows why, but I love it. Mothership not quite out yet. 93 supply to 80. Tempest are alive. These probes, well, not so much anymore, as all of them are getting taken out. The damage output of these Tempests is just too low. And I think this is how Gumio is going to get his win. What an absolutely ridiculous game over here. Lovely, don't get me wrong. Really just a lovely game, but ridiculous nonetheless. Really freaky. Really freaky. Love to see it. Mothership's gonna finish up, and there's going to be a final attack here, right? We can feel it, we can smell it. Mothership's not gonna finish up. That's frustrating. That's real frustrating right now. There's going to be one more attack, but at this point, there's really no purpose. There are 2 starports pumping Vikings, 4 at a time at the moment. It's going to be like 10 Vikings by the time the Tempests make it to the other side of the map. There's still 11 Marines as well, and yeah, we have some extra barracks being added in. That's barracks, what, 4 and 5? Seems correct. Mothership about to be halfway done, but it just takes too long. And here are the Vikings, and here go the Tempests. That's easy wins here for Gumio as he puts himself on match point. And as we enter game number 4, I'd just like to kind of think about what we've seen so far in this series. I don't think I'd classify any of these games as normal or standard. 2 games we've had 2 base mech all-ins, which honestly, the first game I saw that was the first time I've seen that in years. And the second time I saw that, well, was the second time I saw it within 15 minutes, but the second time I've seen it in years as well. So, and then the third game we get a freaking, what was it, like a Tempest Rush, which honestly, I think he hit the worst possible build order, but at the same time, it also was nice because there was no medevac harassment. I'm not entirely sure how to classify the openers, like how good was it, how bad was it. Information came pretty late for Gumiho, but at the same time, yeah, I don't know. He did have a nice army, so it felt like if some decisions there get made a little bit differently, Classic can definitely win that. I really do believe that he can win that. It's just hard to say. Like, this is the problem with new scenarios, is that the theory of it isn't so fleshed out, or at least maybe Classic has it very fleshed out. I just don't have it fleshed out, so it's difficult for me to say, hey, X or Y is the correct call, because the person with the most experience with this build right now is Classic. So what we've seen him play was what he believes to be the correct way of playing it, and we're not sure how limited his experience is either, you know? Like, if you're preparing a single map, which is probably what he did, it was actually Oceanborn, you play maybe, what, 10, 12, 15 games for that one map if you have like a week. Like, you get... Because most of the time, initially, you're kind of thinking about builds, and then you set on builds, and then, you know, you try it versus different opponents. But you also have the potential of, what, like 7 maps or so, because you have 2 vetoes each. So you need to prepare for 7 maps. So, and getting like 15 games in per map is pretty darn reasonable in my mind. Because you don't know what your opponent is going to veto, of course. So yeah, it's possible he has very limited experience with that build. He still should have had more experience than Gumio, technically. Unless he practiced with Gumio. But that would be really stupid, because that's the opponent he's preparing for. So that makes no sense. But yeah. God, where was I? This was a gas first opener into a CC. A very fast second gas as well. He's gonna build Cyclones again, this prick, isn't he? Definitely is. Love to see it. Well, don't really love to see it, but it's interesting at least. I like seeing new openers. Gumio is someone that introduces new openers into the game. It's going to be Hellions instead. Okay. Reaper double Hellion opener. Yeah, positioning of all of this kind of makes me feel like this is not going to be a Hellion drop, you know? In that case, usually the starport is proxy. And the tech lab right next to it feels like, once again, like a Raven play, or maybe it's Banshee actually this time. It's matching up like a Banshee build. Yeah. Just a little bit more gas there, you know? Once again, it's this 3-gate no robo. So once again, not that ability to really do very much here, which is frustrating. Reaper's gonna dodge the Stalker by jumping towards the low ground. 2-3 workers will fall. It's not a bad trade here, honestly. Lots of mining time being lost as well. If the Reaper gets out, Gumio is going to be freaking buzzing after this. Gumio scouts this as well. It's like he sees everything. Oh, it's 3 gate. No robotics facility. Why? He's gonna be fine with this because he has freaking Banshees popping out soon. I'm just not a fan of this overall like, playstyle that Classic here is using. That the 3-8 blink, I think the build is just not very good because you're just lacking that pressure. It's so the thing with PROTOSS is that you're always going to take damage in the early game. This is just a fact of life. Like even if it's just 3 workers, like it's already happened, you know. You lost 3 workers, right now you're gonna lose a 4th one. Even if this Banshee doesn't do anything, you want to deal some damage back to your opponent, like 3-4 workers. You need to do something back. And when you get a late Robo and does a late Prism, it's not possible. Like you're not gonna get your 4 or 5 worker kills. And these 4 or 5 worker kills are freaking important, alright? I didn't realize this for a long time, but if you're not getting your worker kills against Terran, it's almost impossible to play because they are always gonna get worker kills, alright? Look, you're kidding yourself if you think you're gonna have a perfect defense. The perfect defense against Terran doesn't exist. It ain't real, and there are ways for PROTOSS to deal counter damage, but Classic is just not utilizing them here. And that scares me, it really does. So you get 3 more gates on the way. He's heavy on the gas here. Templar Archives has to be. Very late though for the quick Templar Archives. He's floating 400 gas when he built it. Just overall an odd build order. I'm surprised to see it. Banshees get another kill, as I said. No such thing as a perfect defense against Terran. Adept goes down as well. 63 were supply to 75. So we're gonna see a bio game coming out of Gumio here. Adding in a command center. That's the eBay researching +1 as well. And we're in for a freaking treat over here, let me tell you that. It's gonna be 6 gates defensively for Classic. He cut hard, by the way, to get these gateways. Look how crap his worker count is. Gonna get the Templar Archives. Arkle. God, this pains me, you know that? This actually pains me. This actually really freaking hurts. This is like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet and then just eating white rice. It's like, why would you pay that much just to get such crap? Just buy a rice cooker, it's probably cheaper. What's wrong with you? He's now getting stormed, but it feels so late. Banshee's once again moving in. This is painful to watch. Like Gumio is just... Gumio's doing things that make a lot of sense to me here, and honestly, Classic is doing things as well, but they don't make a whole lot of sense to me right now. Gumio's gonna scout everything. He's still stuck in his own main base, though. So, like, you might want to move out on the map, see if you can deal some damage. There's literally nothing here. Look at this. It's 5 Zealots, 2 Templars, and 8 Stalkers. Orbital Command's gonna start in the main. I don't quite understand how Gumio is this low in supply. 113, 7 minutes and 10 seconds into the game is really quite poor. Maybe his early game wasn't quite as powerful as I thought it was. Maybe he cut more eco than I really believed. Or than I wanted to believe. He's just sitting back as well. I guess he wants his opponent to attack into him. Honestly, I also want his opponent to attack into him. I just want anything to happen right now. So I've been watching freaking Reapers, Hellions and Banshees deal a little bit of damage. That's about it. It's 11 probes. I'm surprised how okay this feels for Classic. I'm really quite surprised by that. 3 morales being produced at a time. You know, an armory on the way. So can start his second eBay as well. Or he's gonna need to wait for +1 armor to finish up before he can start his +2 attack. Now this is not an all-in attack that Classic is doing here. But I'd rather have it deal a little bit of damage. If you're Classic. Warping in another Archon here. So there's 2 choices to be made at this point. Either while you're attacking, you go for a Robo Bay and a Robotics Facility. So you basically have the double Robo Colossus transition ready. Or you add more Archons. And that makes it more all-in, but also more powerful. And he went for the more all-in, more powerful option. Gets a couple of storms off. This is a weak-looking army. Holy cow. Yeah, this looks like absolute garbage, this army. There's no workers being produced behind this. You have no upgrades quite yet. I think the best solution is to pick up 2, 3 Templars. Go to... Wait, what's this? Oh, there's a Banshee there. Pick up your Templar. Try to do a Storm Drop in the net. That's literally the... Yeah, this is... I mean, this is the only thing you can do. But the fact that I figured this out means that Gumiho should be capable of figuring out as well. Hey, my opponent moved back. Wonder where his Templar went. If he wants to use them before Ghosts are out. Yeah. Now we're getting that Robo plus Robo bait transition. But yeah, I think it's a risk that he took, and it's a risk that didn't pay off. Quick response there out of Gumiho. As Classic likes to stay around for a bit too long here. But ooh, 2 Cyclones, that looks mighty interesting. Well, friends, it's one hell of a gun you have over there. Sure, shoot it at my prism. That looks fun. There's second forge now about to be done. And Gumiho's moving on the map. Classic with the the Prism Templar is going to be capable of storming a little bit at least. This is not a great fight here for starters, for our good friend Classic. It's lucky that there's no Ghost with this army, because if there were just 2 Ghosts, you're gonna get cooked here, mate. Who splits forward the Marine? That's an interesting one. Usually you see the opposite. You see the Marauders being split forward. Prism has arrived here to deal with everything. Banshee, how's this guy still alive? How about we target a probe as well, mate? Double Observers now coming in. That's the end of the Banshee. Here comes an attack where the Ghost. Mine's not burrowed either. Storm's actually connecting in a big way. Holy crap. Ghost also blanketing these Archons with EMPs though, so it's really yeah, a bit of a mixed bag here. This fight, I think, in the end is going to go the way of Gumiho. I think Gumiho will have something standing here in the end, but I felt like, oh, actually, no, it's going to pack up and leave, run back to the mines. Overall, this transaction was positive for Classic. He looked much worse before this fight than after this fight. Sure, there's a fort base for Gumiho, which is bad. There's also a fort base for Classic, though. The one thing that I really kind of lack when it comes to Classic right now is a Prism that can go into the main. I think that would help massively. Or a Dark Shrine, anything that can give him significant harass ability. There's a cannon here that's really important. If these types of drops start happening, there are no cannons on the outside bases, you can be in serious trouble. Just having a single cannon even just helps so much, because it's one less base you need to worry about. And that is huge. Matter of fact, also needs to be careful. It's already fairly low. Here comes the scan. You can't really drop into this, mate. He's gonna try. That seems wild. Classic pulls his entire army out of position. Has no vision on the bottom side. This is a crazy play. Hey, nothing's happening, but something could have been happening. He's practically blind on the map. But he just pulled like 100, so like 70 supply to deal with a single mine. Really just a single mine here. Very sloppy response there. And if Gumiho would have capitalized on that, that would have all been on Classic. Fusion core on the way. Now with most players I say, oh, that's for advanced ballistics, the range upgrade for the Liberator. I've seen Gumiho play some battle cruisers in the past. I don't think he's gonna do it because we have a reactor here waiting for the starport once it finishes, but still. It's always an interesting thought to keep in the back of our minds. We have a crap army here for Classic. No disruptors whatsoever, no immortals. This looks powerful, and this probably was powerful when all Terrans were brain dead and didn't have a hotkey for EMP. But Wings of Liberty is behind us, and these days Terrans understand how scan works, and they understand how the EMP hotkey works very well as well. So this army actually is garbage. It's all of it is just shields. There's nothing of real damage output. You're gonna need some type of immortals. You're gonna need some level of disruptors in here as well to help you out against this type of army. I'm very surprised to not see any other robo units, but just pure Colossus and I guess Observers and Prisms, but those guys don't fight. Like, Templars feel good to have in an army, but against high Marauder count, they're really not as powerful. The Ghost count is awful, though. Really quite a pathetic Ghost count. You have a big scan forward. I think Classic's starting to realize, well, I'm very blind here on the right side. Gumiho charges in here. He's gonna take out this Nexus. Ooh, a decent chunk of his army, though. Not sure entirely if that is worth it. Actually trading out okay there in the end, so that definitely was worth it. At the same time moves forward on the left side, and Classic is just so blind. Classic is is making some very odd decisions in this game when it comes to how he uses his army without any map vision available. Instant EMP, this base is gonna get taken out. Yeah, now Classic needs to go home. He can't attack into a freaking planetary. He knows that up this ramp there's going to be freaking tanks, liberators, mines, whatever, you know, whatever it is, you name it. Freaking Gumio has it. And now Classic is just down 2 bases. Medevacs do pick up a chunk of the army, so you still have to worry about these medevacs being out here. Once again, Classic's instantly gonna send it. And at this point I kind of understand it, but yep, there come the medevacs. You have another scan. These bad boys, come on. You can't go back for this. You either deal with it or you ignore it, but you can't pretend that it ain't there, and then when it shows up, it's like, oh, right, these guys are here. It's like Classic is just down 30 freaking supply right now, and that number is going to be growing because Classic is supply block and Gumio isn't. There are a lot of liberators here. Yeah, I think Gumio is in such a sick spot right now. This 5th base is in an insane location and it shouldn't be capable of doing anything. Sensor tower helping out. Liberators can pre-siege already. There are 7 libs out, and even if this sensor tower falls, like, is that the end of the world? No, it's not. Advanced ballistics is here, +1 ship weapon's about to finish up. The only thing really that Gumio is lacking is Ghost. He's forgotten that the Ghost exists. It would be real nice to have if they're freaking 6 Templar with full energy. No shot. He actually jumps up here. Well, there are no ghosts. Maybe this still has a chance. Storm's blanketing this army right now. Well, actually, yeah, that was a good storm. A couple more storms available. Liberators are all dying. Interesting blink forward. Wants to take out these libs as fast as he can. There's really not that much bio available. Now the ghosts start streaming in. And I think that might just be it, as Liberators on siege deal with the Colossus. The Marauder Ghost on the floor does a decent job as well. 1 extra upgrade was here for Gumio. That helped him a little bit. But yeah, Classic just didn't have the army there. Just did not have the army. No Disruptors, no Immortals. So freaking hard. And as I said, Storm is good. It's not that great against Marauders. It's very good against Marines, and it's okay against Marauders. It's decent. But you need something that is good, and that is the Disruptor. Disruptor is a good freaking unit, alright? You want to use that. You want to use that, but we see none out here as Classic going to have to tap out this Gumio. Oh, that's a nice EMP. Literally at every Templar but 1. Gumio is going to set himself up to go into the finals of the GSL. Liberator sieging forward as well. Beautiful stuff here coming out of the beast. The Terran Master. Cloud9 is going to be happy about all of this, as the libs now want to siege into the main. This is going to be an elevator move, but no. Classic tries to beat it. Well, actually, elevator move, here we go. Yeah, now you just siege up the ramp. Ooh, we get a recall. And actually you siege on top of the Nexus in that case, yeah. Good luck getting out of there, mate. As the Archons, the Colossus all being taken out right now by those libs. Yeah. The libs are going to win. Classic in shambles. GG gets called. Gumio wins the series 3-1. Good series, fun series. Last game, not as great as the others, but some innovative play. Fun to watch, and yeah, exciting stuff. All right, that's going to be it for me today. I'll be doing the some of the other GSL series as well, from the semifinals and the finals in the upcoming days. So be sure to stay tuned for that as well. Be sure to check out the GSL Patreon, patreon.com/GSL. Perhaps skip it for now if you don't want to get spoiled. That's going to be it for me today. Thanks all so much for watching. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see all of you next time for a new video. Bye bye.